This is your mom's favorite show, Beer and Chill podcast. My name is Jan,
And I'm Craig.
and we would really appreciate if you would stop by and listen to our show. We are talking about interesting facts about your favorite movies, games, and TV shows.
For example, did you know that Christopher Lee and Ian McKellen had a real-life beef because Christopher Lee wanted to play Gandalf in Lord of the Rings?
And many other great facts.
We hope you check us out and enjoy the rest of your show. Bye-bye.
What's your favorite scary movie?
They mostly come at night. Mostly.
Welcome to my world, bitch.
Your suffering will be legendary, even in hell.
They're here.
Welcome, victims, to the Horr-Gasm podcast. Kill the lights, lock the doors, get comfy, and prepare for the sexiest and scariest podcast around. I'm Nick, and with me is my co-host, Allie.
Hello.
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
Hello. You can't just start with that.
I just did.
Yeah, we watched Beetlejuice this week. I've never seen it.
I can't believe that. I really can't.
It was something. Yeah. It was fun. Is it supposed to be a kid's movie?
No, because you got the one F-bomb in it. So
I was going to say, there was an F-bomb, and he says shit a lot.
Yeah.
And there's a whorehouse.
It's
about death.
I think
I
10,
always thought it was a
10 and
kid's
up is
movie.
okay. 10 is up. What is the cartoon? The cartoon just made it such a kid show. I don't know.
Okay.
I'd say,
Why was I under the impression it was a kid's movie?
I don't know.
Maybe it was because of the cartoon. I remember watching the cartoon, but I don't remember much about this. But
And the cartoon is loosely based off this movie.
okay, yeah, I don't remember much about it. It must have come out in the 90s or
88.
really the cartoon.
Oh, the cartoon was 90, 91.
Okay, because I was gonna say I remember the cartoon when I was wee, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I always thought that it was like a kids movie and it was about
It was
because
rated
Winona
PG.
Ryder and it was rated.
Rated PG, so...
Oh. Yeah, but it was kind of spooky scary. It was a little spooky.
It has some good spooky spots.
Yeah,
Whereas as a young kid would be scared of it.
definitely. I feel like I wouldn't have been as scared as Coraline, but that also might have been like an age thing. Like it,
I think this is scarier than Coraline.
Oh, there's
by
no
far.
way. I think in this day and age, not nearly. Because like the claymation, again, while it's cool, it does not age as well, I don't think.
Yeah, but there's no annoying characters in Beetlejuice as opposed to Coraline.
Like, sorry, what?
There's no annoying characters.
Annoying characters don't make it less scary.
No, but it makes it lamer.
Like,
It
I
drops...
feel like there's no correlation between the two things you're talking about.
In my opinion, Beetlejuice is far above and beyond Coraline.
Totally. Yeah. I don't know. It was like, I don't know. It wasn't scary-ish. Like, I don't know if it would. The characters aren't as scary. Like, I can see where parts of it was creepy, but I just, there's no like menacing big scary monster.
The Sandworm.
Yeah, but that's like from Nightmare Before Christmas too. I mean, like Nightmare Before Christmas got it from Beetlejuice, but I think that's a kids movie as well. And that's
That's more...
you know what I mean?
That's
So
more,
when I think of
but
it,
that's more geared towards kids. Same with
Right.
Coraline, geared towards kids.
But when
Beetlejuice was geared towards adults and young kids not under 10 with adult supervision.
right.
Like nowadays, you'll show a kid this who's 10 and over, they'll think whatever. Even with the face
Definitely.
being ripped off, or it's the effects are so good, but they're not graphically
For
accurate
sure,
good.
100%. Yeah, and that's the thing is that like when I saw the sand snake or worm or whatever on Saturn, it's like, well, that's from Nightmare Before Christmas because I've seen it like a lot, and it's like that's 100% from Nightmare Before Christmas. And you're like, really? And I'm like, yes,
And
absolutely.
also, when near the end, when Beetlejuice pops up with the merry-go-round on his
Yep.
head, the little skull on the top of the head looks a lot like Jack Skellington.
Aw.
Yep.
That makes sense though. They're both Tim Burton. This
Yep.
is before.
This is
It has
way
to be.
before. This
I
is-
was gonna say. I think Nightmare Before Christmas is like mid-90s, isn't it?
97, I
Yeah.
think. And this was 88. So it's
For
a good
sure.
10 plus years
Right.
before Jack
Makes
Skellington.
sense, though.
Yeah.
It's weird watching a Tim Burton movie without like Helena Bonham Carter or Johnny Depp. I gotta
Yes.
say, you kind of get so used to it. It's like, wait, there's other actors. Oh, but the
And-
actors in this were awesome.
Oh, this was star-studded.
I just love them. Yeah.
And it was really supposed to be a lot more scarier and gruesome.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there was supposed to be a second kid of the family who gets massacred by Beetlejuice as a squirrel.
Oh,
Like,
nice.
it was a lot darker. Like,
So why did they cut all that?
I think studios like, let's make this a little more family friendly. Let's make
Interesting.
more money off it that way.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not-
That's a thing. That's definitely a thing. Yeah, we've watched a lot of like would you consider this like a haunted house movie or like more of a paranormal movie
It's kind
or
of all of the above.
yeah, bit of
Yeah.
everything.
Yep.
Yeah, because there's ghosts and there's like purgatory in quotations and
Yeah.
there's it's obviously a haunted house and all that kind of stuff. Kind of a family drama.
Yeah.
Because the main characters are trying to get the new people out. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
I
like-
never knew that the plot or anything of this. I was surprised that he wasn't in it more. I was saying before we started recording, because it's called Beetlejuice, so I thought he'd be like all up in it, but he's hardly.
Yeah, it's focused mainly on the families, and he's kind of the afterthought. But watching like the trailer, he feels like he's got a more bigger part.
For sure.
I'll read to you a bit of the original ideas for the script.
Sure.
The Maitlands, who's the two main
Of course.
characters, their
Yep.
car crash is depicted graphically with Barbara's arm being crushed, and the couple screaming for help as they slowly drown in the river. Mm-hmm. And that is a reference is in the movie, but it's not really touched upon. Instead of possessing the Dietzes and forcing them to dance during dinner, the Maitlands cause a vine-patterned carpet to come to life and attack the Dietzes by tangling them in their chairs.
Ooh, kind of like Devil Snare.
Yeah.
Cool.
The character of Beetlejuice, envisioned by McDowell, who is the original writer, as a winged demon who takes on the form of a short Middle Eastern man, is also intent on killing the Dietzes rather than scaring them, and wanted sex from Lydia instead of wanting to marry her.
Yeah, because that was another thing, was that I was telling you before that people were trying to cancel Beetlejuice because they said that he was creeping on Lydia. But watching this movie, he was very creeping on Barbara. But
Yep.
she's like an older, well, not older, she's a middle-aged woman. But like, he is not interested, like, he's not creepy towards Lydia at all.
The only time he does is when he's mentioning her to Barbara.
Yes.
That young girl.
Yeah, but she understands me.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
gets me.
Yeah, she gets me. She understands me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. But, like, he never says anything else and tries to make it as, like, a business transaction. You know what I mean? So I was like, I wonder why. Like, people are
But
trying to make
people,
it creepy.
cancel culture, they think of anything to try and cancel, and they'll
Yeah.
take any little thing that they think is wrong and blow it up.
Yeah,
more
it was
than
like,
what it is.
he's, like, kind of, like, sexually assaulting Barbara. Like, we're going to just ignore that and go right to the part of him, like... But that's just who he is. Like, he's not a good person. And I
No.
think that that's what they're trying to depict in those scenes, is that, like, he's a
a
scumbag.
creep. He's a creep. He's
yes,
a creeper, yeah.
exactly. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else we got for the changes? Originally, he was to be exhumed from his grave to be summoned.
Oh. Like a real grave?
Well, like when they dug him up. Like
From the model?
yeah. The whole they even say his name 3 times, wasn't even in it. It also featured a second Dietz child, 9-year-old Kathy, the only person able to see the Beatlands, and the subject of Beetlejuice's homicidal wrath in the film's climax, during which he mutilates her while in the form of a rabid squirrel.
Nice. I could have gotten into that.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you.
Also, their original ending was the Maitlands, Dietzes, and Otho conduct an exorcism ritual that destroys Beetlejuice.
Destroys him.
Yeah. Like, when they
Like
show...
a possession exorcism kind of sort of thing?
Yeah, like just like based up plain old exorcism.
Interesting.
And that's why when we're walking down the hallway, they see like the room full of
Yeah.
just floating lost souls
Yeah.
who were exorcised, and that's where he would end up.
Interesting. Well, he says that The Exorcism is his favorite movie, and he's watched it like 178 times.
That's right. And it gets funnier every single time. and the Maitlands transforming into miniature versions of themselves, moving into Adam's model of their home. Which would have been, whatever. But
That would have been, I don't know, kind of
yeah,
cool. I love the model idea, can I tell
I
you?
did too. The original script idea had a major negative reaction at Universal, where they said, not going to work.
Interesting. There's so many things that you could have done differently, but like I like sort of what they did, like with the super annoying family and all that moving into their house. But I almost, and that's the thing is that, like, okay, I thought that it was intended for kids, so I was like, that's when he said fuck, I was like, oh.
And 90% of his lines were ad-libbed by Michael Keaton because he is that good of an actor.
Of course.
And like
He's fantastic.
I'm sure, like, that was on the spot. Kicks the tree over. Nice fucking model.
Yeah. But that's like almost what makes it good. You know what I mean? Like ad-libbing that kind of stuff makes it good. And that's why I loved about the genie in Aladdin. Like that beginning of Aladdin where the genie, in quotations, like the merchant, is standing there and he's just like playing with things, and that was all ad-libbed by Robin Williams. I was like, that is one of my favorite parts of the movie. Where it's just like ridiculous. Ugh, I love it. Yeah, it was good. But it's just like, they could have done more about, like, the Dietzes buying the town, and, the mom and dad could have been more of the villain, and you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it could have been, like, a series or something, and they keep having to call in Beetlejuice for help or something. I don't know. It could have gone different places, and, like, I like where it went, but it was just, like, I know it was a movie about paranormal, but...
Apparently, one of the ideas for how Beetlejuice died, because anyone who kills himself end up as civil social workers in the afterlife.
Yes.
And that's why Beetlejuice, he killed himself. He attempted to hang himself while drunk, only to mess it up and died slowly, choking to death, rather than quickly snapping his neck. And wound up working for Juno before striking it on his own as a freelance bioexorcist. So that's the...
I was asking about that. It's like, how did he die? Because he obviously, like, has, like, green stuff all over his hair.
Well, he was, like, what, 600 years old, he said? So.
And, like, it's all around his mouth. But how did the guy in the car, like, the guy who was helping... He
probably just walked down in front of a car and got run over.
Oh, okay. Because he has, like, papers and stuff with him, too. And I was, like, trying to read them. And I was like, how did you do that? But... Yeah, that's crazy. It was a very interesting, and it's funny that you say that they were going to make it scarier, because it could have been scarier so easily, but they made light of death, like in every form, like every form of death was like a joke almost, and it's like, it's interesting.
And when they're in the waiting room, it's so exaggerated.
Yes.
Like the one girl who was like the...
like the head receptionist?
Not her, the one who's cut in half. She was a magician's helper.
Yeah.
And that trick went wrong. And she got sawed in half. The guy who is eaten by a shark, his leg is basically in a shark's mouth. Got a sleeping bag with a snake in there.
Yep.
There's
the shrunken head guy.
Shrunken head guy, and the guy who did it, who got shot.
Yeah.
Who else? There's a few.
Oh, this guy who's smoking.
Yes, he's like burnt to a crisp.
Yeah.
Like it's funny.
It is.
And that brings up the comical
side of it.
Side of this movie, yeah.
100%.
Which I think either way it would have worked. If they went straight up horror, what they originally planned, that would have worked. But the comedic factor as well with Michael Keaton.
Yes.
It almost, I think it worked better than it could.
It's like, I wonder if like when they heard him talking, they decided to take it in a different direction or something. Or when they saw him audition or something, they're like, we can't do it this way anymore.
Everyone said no. Everyone
really?
Except, what's her name? Barbara.
Oh, Gina
Everyone
Davis.
except Gene Davis said no the first time.
Really?
Yeah, she was on board to begin with. She was like,
cool.
All right, sounds great, I'm in.
Huh.
And even in Alec Baldwin, he kind of said, this is my worst movie. He
really?
hates acting in this, which is too bad, because I think he did great in this.
Well, he hates everything at this point, though, so
yeah.
I wouldn't take it personally.
But you wouldn't realize he was a Baldwin. In this movie, he looks so young and different, and the glasses.
Insane.
Yeah.
Because I thought he looked. I know he's not Steven, but I was like, he's got to be a Baldwin, but I'm not sure which one. And when I was like, wait, is that Alec? And you're like, yeah. I was like, what? But I think just because I'm used to seeing him in like 30 Rock and like this Saturday, playing Trump on SNL. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm used to seeing him as. I'm not used to seeing him in this sort of a, this early, I guess, like before I was born. 30 years ago, I guess. Yeah, it's crazy. Oh, it's so good. I'm ready to talk about it. You ready to get into it?
I'm ready to get into it.
Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice.
It's showtime.
All right, obviously from our Talking Chop, this week we watched Beetlejuice. It's a 1988 movie, and it was directed by Tim Burton and written by, there's a bunch of people here, Michael McDowell, Larry Wilson, and the screenplay was written as well by Michael McDowell and Warren Scarron.
Yep. And
Scarron. Ooh.
Danny Elfman did the score.
Of course. Star Wars guy,
good,
right?
Yeah. No.
Doesn't Danny Elfman help with the Star Wars?
I don't think so. I think that was someone else. No, he did a lot of Tim Burton work. No,
I thought he did some
Star
Wars.
No, he did Simpsons.
Oh, interesting.
No, he did not do Star Wars.
Oh.
No.
Well, I know, like, the, what's his face, did most of the Star Wars, but I thought he helped. I don't know.
John Williams did Star Wars.
Yes, that's who it is. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, this movie was fun, like we already said. It was so different from everything that we've been watching right now. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's we've been going so scary and so much zombies and stuff. It's nice to have, like, a break that's kind of fun. Of course, sort of like a funny, jokey sort of a horror movie, but still kind of scary.
And it got a great spin-off in the cartoon.
Yes.
Which went for quite a while.
Yes. I remember the cartoon. That's how I remember
And it was
Beetlejuice.
such a different take on the idea, as opposed to Beetlejuice being the antagonist. In the cartoon, he was a protagonist.
Yep.
Lydia was his best friend. They went to, like, the other side of, I guess, death, and they did adventures there. They had the parents, but no Barbara, no...
Really?
No David, no, it was just the parents. Like, they're not even in it.
Because that's the thing, is that I remember Beetlejuice and Lydia, and I don't remember, like, Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis's character, and I'm like, well, maybe that's why. Like, I didn't know. Like, okay, we're just gonna, like, obviously we've been talking about it, but super spoiler alert, like, they die in the first 5 minutes and are ghosts, and that's the whole thing. I know, it came out, like, 30 years ago. I didn't know. I have, like, talked around Beetlejuice my whole life. I never knew that they were dead.
Wow.
Don't shake your head at me.
Just head shake galore.
Yeah, I've watched clips of it. I had no idea they were dead. I thought that they were just, like, roommates of the, like, other family. Honestly, I had no idea.
That's funny.
Is it?
Funny.
Because now I feel like an idiot.
No, don't feel like that. No, don't do like that.
But it's like, I just never... It's never a part that I ever watched. Like, I skipped right to the good stuff of, like, the dining room dancing and, like, Beetlejuice doing his, like, blah, 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 bug face and them, like, making their faces look weird. Never even thought about it. Yeah. I know. It's crazy.
Silly. And there was a sequel planned.
Oh.
They wanted to do a sequel. Tim Burton was all about a sequel. Asked the writer, write me a good sequel.
Yeah.
And the idea was that it was Beetlejuice goes to Hawaii or something like that. And the Dietzes moved to Hawaii so the dad can... He's like a big...
He's like a developer.
Something. Yeah. And he was building this big condo kind of center. Mm-hmm. But of course, it's built on a grave site.
Very a la Poltergeist.
Yes. Of Big Kahuna.
Okay.
And so he's the antagonist, and they call Beetlejuice in to help. And he becomes and it's funny, like the description was, he becomes a big hero by magically winning a huge surfing contest. Yup.
Okay.
That lost you, Mike.
Lost me a little bit there.
A little. But that was the idea. They're going to make him the good guy, and this kahuna, this Hawaiian ghost, the bad guy.
See, so here's the thing. I have a problem with redeeming irredeemable characters. So what I mean by that is he's been a fucking asshole for 600 years, but then he's in a surfing contest and decides he's going to be... You know what I mean?
Well, he's not... I don't think Beetlejuice is irredeemable.
Oh,
because,
I 100% do.
Because he's out for himself, but he's not, like, vindictive or anything.
Yeah, for
like,
sure. But that's what I mean, is don't make him good.
But yeah, but he helped the Deets when they were being, brought back to life, but they're dying again.
But he didn't do it for them. He wasn't like, oh, I should probably do this.
But he could have not done it at all. He could have just popped up and said, screw you, I'm...
But he got to be, technically, in quotations, alive again.
Yes.
Like, that's the thing is that, like, he didn't do it on purpose. Like, he didn't do it just because, like, these guys have grown on me.
He did because that was the deal with Lydia.
Right.
You
that's
say my name a few times, I'll save them, but you marry me and bring me back to life.
Right. But that's selfish. It's not like he did it just because he was going to save them. But that's like why I like the series BoJack Horseman so much, is because he's a shitty person and he stays a shitty person the whole time. And they're like, let's give him a redemption arc. Just kidding, he fucks it up because that's who he is.
But that's
because
also
he's selfish.
That's his character, though, and you can't really... You can make him a protagonist, but then he'd be like a very... He'd be an anti-hero.
Yes, but this is the thing, is like Deadpool. Like, don't make him a, something he's not. Like, he does things for a reason, usually. And it's like he does, things for himself or for whatever, his wife or girlfriend or whatever she was.
But in doing so, he is doing good by doing
But I don't think that makes him good. I think that makes him, like, chaotic neutral.
Anti-hero. Like, he's a hero, but he's doing it in a villainous way.
Yeah, but I don't think that that's, like, a redemption arc. Like, I don't want a redemption arc for Beetlejuice.
Well, I don't think he would get one. He would just be seen by being himself, but doing what he does is good. Or is in turn helping other people, but doing it for himself.
Good is a stretch.
Well, he's...
I feel like hero, okay, I can deal with anti-hero. I can deal with that, but good?
Yeah, no, I understand. I get it.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Good is like meh.
Who is good nowadays?
Good is boring.
Yeah. Actually, it is. It really is nowadays. Everyone's like, they need to have the dangerous, mean, good guy. Have that edge to him. Have that badass to him. Have him like a badass good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Blech.
Oh, well. Well, where did you first hear about Beetlejuice?
It's just kind of one of those things that's always been there, honestly. Because it came out before I was alive, of course. And I just always kind of heard about it. Like, it's just one of those things, everybody dresses up as him. And everybody, had a toy or something of them. And, Lydia's such a emo, gothy.
She wasn't even goth. She was emo. Or,
yeah,
no, sorry. So she was not emo, she was goth. Got that way backwards.
Well, she was emo, I think. She was a little bit of both. If you looked at emos these days, it's...
The best example would be from South Park, because they had the goth emo episode.
Sure.
And they eventually got them mixed up. And
yeah.
They were mostly the same thing.
It's just, that's what I'm trying to say, is
but
I think it's
she was more goth than emo. Emo is more all emotional, blah, blah, blah.
We watched her write a gross letter of like, I feel utterly alone.
And that is goth. That is goth.
I think it's two sides of the same cloth, honestly.
Oh, I agree. I agree. But she was more leaned towards the goth side.
Yeah,
this was way
whatever
before
you want to say.
Way before emo.
I'm just saying that she's whatever the kids know these days. That term is she's kind of like, I don't even remember the point I was trying to make. I was trying to talk about something.
I forget too. But you first heard it was before you were born.
Yes. Because everybody kind of was like emulating her almost. Like there's the girls who would do their bangs like that.
Yes, yep.
That kind of stuff. She was like the OG, sort of dressing black, all that sort of thing. So I always kind of knew about her because of the makeup and the hair and all that sort of stuff. And the red dress is like iconic, like her wedding dress. But so that's kind of how I knew about it. It's just from like always being around, Yeah, but you were alive when this came out, so how did you hear about it?
I don't remember the trailer very well.
Okay.
I remember it coming to theaters. I remember the toys for it, toys being advertised galore.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I was very young, it was out in 88, so I was maybe 5 or 6,
Sure.
walking through the mall with my mom, and I would see the toys. I'm like, oh, this is from Beetlejuice. That's a scary movie.
Yes.
I want these toys. Never got them, but I remember they were just promoting it so hard. Like the Beetlejuice's coffin, his I think his vehicle he had, the other characters, and squeeze his legs, his head spins around.
I love his tombstone. His tombstone, I remember.
Yeah, and that
like
was
I don't
one
know
of the
where I've
toys,
seen
yeah.
it, but I've seen it before. Like Here Lies Beetlejuice or whatever. Mm-hmm.
And like Otho had a toy. I think Lydia did.
Sure.
The Deets did with them transformed, with their faces done up. Yes. And I remember all that very clearly. And I never saw the movie. I asked once about it. And I was told, it's kind of scary, Nick. I don't know if you'd like it. I'm like, well, young Nick was like, nope, if it's scary, I don't know if I'm going to watch this. I remember seeing clips of it.
Sure.
It was on TV once in a while. I'd watch a bit, but then I'm like, what else is on? Ooh, cartoons.
Yeah.
And
Right. As you do.
SLM. And yeah, I never had a desire to watch it until I eventually did get to watch it. And that was years after. I forget when. I was maybe 15.
Okay,
14,
like
15,
teenager.
16, yeah. And I watched it, I'm like, this was awesome. This is great. I like this movie. It was funny. I liked the characters. Beetlejuice was a character all of his own. It was just good. I enjoyed it, and I still do. This is still one of my favorite movies of all time. To this day.
Really?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's a bit slower paced than I think I thought it was gonna be. I don't know what I thought it was gonna be, but it was just the beginning was like a little slow until the deets move in, and then you're like, oh, okay, here we go. But
And
yeah,
the cast. Oh, I can't wait to talk about the cast because this
I
is
know.
a star-studded cast.
Well, let's talk about it.
Okay, fine.
Get into the cast. I
Fine,
think
I
that's
will.
next on the list.
Yes. So, starring Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice.
Of course, doesn't look like him.
No.
I had no idea who played Beetlejuice till somebody's like Michael Keaton, and I was like, "Excuse me." And then when you look at it, you're like, "Oh yeah," because he is like plastered in makeup.
And this is just before Batman.
Yes, because
So-
that's how I think of Michael Keaton.
And
Batman.
Michael Keaton was known for being a more comedic actor. That was his shtick. That was what people knew him for. Michael Keaton, he's a comedic actor.
Yeah.
When he got cast for Batman, people were like, this is going to be a bomb. Like when Heath Ledger got cast as Joker.
Yes.
People thought, oh, the British guy or the British guy from The Knight's Tale, he's going to suck. He'll be terrible. He killed it.
Yeah.
He kind of set the bar for Joker after that.
Yes.
And Michael Keaton was a great Batman. He was even better Bruce Wayne.
Yes, I agree with you 100%.
And yeah, like he is such a great actor. Now they got him doing more. I guess there's rumors he's going to play the Batman again in the DC
Interesting.
TV series, doing like a Flashpoint. Those are rumors.
Huh.
They're going to have. Well, they had him in. Oh, he was the Vulture in Spider-Man.
Okay. Yeah.
And like he's just a great actor.
Yeah.
He really
yeah,
is.
he really is. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We got Alec Baldwin as Adam Maitland,
Yes.
and he's a Baldwin.
Yeah.
And again, he does great. You know, he hated this movie, hated his role in it. Too bad.
That's really too bad,
It
'cause
is.
he was
did great. He
good.
was really good in this movie.
Yeah.
The great Gina Davis as
Love.
Barbara Maitland.
Love.
She was great in this.
She's great in everything.
She
These are
is.
just really good actors.
Jeffrey Jones as Charles Dietz.
Oh, he's great.
He is. He's had a bit of personal life. He kind of went downhill, but
Yeah, he's usually in comedies, I believe. And like
he was the principal in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Stop. Of course he was.
Yep.
Yes. Because I'm like, why can I think of him, but I can't remember what I know him from right off the tip of my tongue. Oh, of course. He was so good. That's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
I love it.
We have the great, and she just recently won some awards on Schitt's Creek, Catherine O'Hara as Delia Dietz.
Amazing.
I love her. She's a great Canadian actress.
I always think of Home Alone.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
she's on Schitt's Creek?
Yep. She stars in Schitt's Creek. Her and Eugene Levy.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Sure,
and again,
sure.
both Canadians.
Yep.
Just
Represent.
That's right. The great Winona Ryder as Lydia Dietz, who was great in this.
And she's done so much. Like, even though she's had personal life problems, she's like back on it in the Stranger Things.
So good for
like
her.
killing it in that. Like, yeah, really, really, like, and she's got a good career. Like, she's gotta be so rich. Can you imagine? Because she was young in this.
She did 17, I believe.
Was she actually? She was actually a teenager.
Yep.
Oh my god, I didn't think she was that young.
I think she was. I'll double triple.
It makes sense, but like, I mean, 88. Even though, like, you know, it was a couple years before I was born.
Well, she was born in 1971. So
17. Yeah, you're right.
Look at me go.
Huh.
Yeah, and she was also in a few other Tim Burton movies, like Edward Scissorhands.
Yes.
And
I haven't seen that one either.
You haven't seen Edward Scissorhands? Fuck off.
I'm sorry. Well, it
Get
feels
the
like a repeat
fuck
of
out.
last week. I haven't seen it. No. I heard it wasn't that great, so I never watched it. I don't know.
I am aghast and agape of your... Oh, my God.
lack of Tim Burton.
Yes. Bad. Bad. We have Sylvia Sidney as Juno. I'm guessing she was Otho's girlfriend, or... They sat next to each other during the...
Juno was the
oh, no, I take that back. No, she was the caseworker.
The caseworker, yeah.
I'm thinking of someone else. I'm not sure what she's from.
I don't know either. I didn't recognize her. She was quite old in this movie, so I figured she probably isn't in anything.
She was born in 1910. Like, she's...
Yep. Figured she wouldn't be in anything recent. So... not much.
American Tragedy, City Streets are all like her first movies.
Fair. Yeah. So she would have been... So if she was born in 1910, she would have been 78 in the movie.
She played Fantine in Les Miserables.
In what year?
1952. She was Aunt Marion in Damien, Omen 2. So that's a big one. She was in Mars Attacks.
It's been a minute since I've seen that.
She was the grandma.
Which of who? Like, which grandma? I haven't seen it in like 10 years.
She's the old lady in Mars Attacks who laughs, ha ha ha, they blew up Congress.
Oh, okay. Huh. Well, good for her. I didn't recognize her, but...
Neither did I.
That's great.
We have Robert Goulet as Maxie Dean. He's like Charles Dietz's boss.
Oh, yes.
Or partner, whatever. Dick Cavett as Bernard.
I don't know who that is.
Glenn Shaddix as Otho.
Yes, he was good.
He was great in this movie.
And you said he was in another fancy movie.
He was in Demolition Man.
Oh,
Same kind of role, but he's just a great actor. I like him.
Fabulous.
And Annie McEnroe as Jane Butterfield. She's the woman at the beginning who's trying to...
Oh, Jane.
She's trying to get them to sell the house and...
Yep. She thinks that somebody else should move into the Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin's home.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, it'd be so much nicer for somebody with kids and everything. Like, who even... Like, is she a real estate agent or what is she?
She must be or something.
Because she said she designed the house, or whatever. Decorated the house. So, what is she, an interior designer? Is she real estate?
She has to be.
Maybe in the small town you're both.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. It was, the cast was fantastic, though. The acting is so good.
Yep.
And it's like, I know that last week we were talking about over-the-top acting, but this is a little bit, this is like westernized over-the-top acting, right? Like when you think of like Beetlejuice and like Catherine O'Hara, like just the acting. Like
when they're going through the house and they're looking to make all these changes, and her husband's like, don't touch this room. She's like, I will either gut this house or I'll go crazy and take you out with me.
Yeah, and
like,
screams it at him, and he's like, "Oh, okay, well, just not this room." And she's like, "Okay."
It's
like,
so good.
Whoa, you okay, lady?
I love her. I love Catherine O'Hara.
She's great.
So good.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was a roller coaster. It's not at all what I was expecting it to be. I don't know what I was expecting. I keep thinking, like, what was it? I thought it was going to be like this spooky, scary afterworld movie. It was just like people trying to kick other people out of the house.
Well, yeah.
Again, I had no idea what to expect.
For naming the movie after one of the characters, he's only got 24 minutes screen time, I think.
I believe it.
But every time he's in it, he kills. Like
Oh.
he steals a scene.
And I think that's why I feel like there's not enough of him, because he was so good.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not that, like, they should have done more or whatever. It's just, he was so fantastic in what he was saying and doing.
Yeah. I agree 100%.
I wanted more, like, weird Michael Keaton-isms. More ad-libbing. I'd love to see, like, the reject pile, what they cut out, because it would be gold.
Well, there was when because we see when they leave the house, they go to Saturn, or one of Saturn's moons.
Yep.
Originally, they go to a different place altogether.
Sure.
And there is footage of that. I'll show you after.
Oh, okay.
I think it's on YouTube. Basically, it's like this black area, and there's like weird objects kind of just flying all over, and they chase Adam's character.
Oh.
So when he first goes out there, and you see him look up,
Yeah.
and you see the sandworm, he's looking at something entirely different. They changed this later on in the post-production.
Well, because it all looks like green screen anyway, so they probably could have, yeah.
But no, they change it to Saturn Moon and with the sandworms, and I think that was better. I think 100% that was the best choice and the right move.
It was interesting, and it's like thinking that it was Saturn. Like, I don't know, because you don't really know what it is until Beetlejuice describes it as, oh, you're Saturn, hey, sandworms, hey, they're scary, and all that stuff. But you don't really think about it until you're like, oh, yeah, because I thought it was just like some, crazy, far-off place and desert or whatever. But, yeah, I guess ghosts don't have to breathe, so
Nope.
who cares what planet it's on. But
And there's a big time discrepancy, too, when you leave the house. Because when he leaves, and then he gets pulled back in by Barbara,
like seconds later.
Yeah, and she's like, you've been gone for 2 hours. He's like, what? I was just in there for a few seconds, like half a minute.
Yes.
So
Is that why when they accidentally go in there, kind of like when they pop in there, the two of them, and they're searching for each other, then they find each other, and then they hightail it out, they end up in like the foyer of the house.
Something like that.
Yeah, and then then the whatever, they're moving in the new family, so they must have been gone for months.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And even when they go to the afterlife, reception.
Yes.
It's like 3 months have passed.
Yeah.
Before when they go there and they come back.
Yes.
It's been 3 months.
Oh. Like, it's crazy. But I mean, what is time when you're dead,
That's
Do
right.
you have...
That's
It's
right.
not like you have anything else to do. You don't have to sleep, you don't have to eat, nothing. You just kind of hang out.
Yep, float.
Yeah.
Try and scare people.
Yep. I guess. I wonder if they have, like, other places. That's the thing, is that, like, because they have this waiting room, sort of, you'd think that they must have, like, other places to go. You know what I mean?
Well, they got the book for, like, the recently deceased.
Yeah.
And going to go through, like, each deceased has a different proximity of where they can go and be.
Okay.
And, like, we don't know how other people, what their proximity is. Like, the guy who is swimming with the shark. Where does he end up? Does he haunt the ocean?
Yep.
That would suck. Like, maybe he gets sent to another house. Like, we don't know.
Yeah.
You said you could have bought that book. You should have.
I should have. It's still in my Amazon wish list.
There we go.
Should get it. Do some research.
Yeah. Should we get into the plot?
Yeah.
Okay, so Barbara and Adam Maitland live in an idyllic Connecticut country home in Winter River. Barbara's cousin, Jane... Oh, Jane was her cousin. Okay, that's news. Barbara's cousin, Jane Butterfield, a pushy real estate agent...
Okay, so she is a real estate agent. Okay.
Hounds them to sell their large home, but they refuse. During a drive into town, they swerve to avoid a dog, and their car plunges into the river. Damn dog.
Yeah.
When they're to return home, they find they cannot remember how they got back, have no reflections, and when Adam attempts to leave the house, he steps into an alien desert with monstrous sandworms.
Ah.
Saturn's
Saturn,
moon.
yeah.
They find a book titled Handbook to the Recently Deceased and realize they drowned in the crash and are trapped, haunting their house.
It's nice that we don't have to watch them go through, like, the seven stages of acceptance or whatever it is, It's like, no, we're not. Like, denial and anger and all that.
Yeah. We also see that Adam is like a big miniature maker.
Yes.
He's got the entire town built,
Yes.
which is really cool.
It is super cool.
Yeah.
People who make models are like A-okay in my books. One of my bosses makes models, and it is so cool.
Cool.
Like, it's super neat.
Jane sells her home to the Dietz's family from New York City. Charles, a former real estate developer, his second wife, Delia, a sculptor and crazy person, and his teenage goth daughter, Lydia, from his first marriage. With her interior designer, Otho, Delia makes plans to renovate the house. The Maitlands attempt to frighten the family away, but fail because they cannot be seen and take refuge in the attic.
Yeah, they try to, like, do super spooky stuff to them and,
Yeah.
you know, like, pull out their eyeballs and rip their face off and, like, hang themselves in the closet. Nothing. They don't
Nope,
see anything.
They can't see a thing.
So they're like, well, what's the point of all this if they can't see us?
Yeah. A specter named Beetlejuice sends the 2 advertisements promoting himself as a bioexorcist. And I also say, the whole Beetlejuice, like the 3 names 3 times, is it's a big thing in this movie. Saying something 3 times, similar to Bloody Mary or Candyman.
Exactly.
There's always
and,
rules.
like, the knocking, like, you have to knock 3 times, like, on
it's
the
funny
door.
how 3 is such a big thing in movies.
It is. You know, that's also, this is really weird and random, but it's also a thing in, like, interior design, is that you always do odd numbers. Like, when you're hanging pictures, you hang 1 or you hang 3, you don't do 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, or, like, stuff, you're supposed to put 2, not 3. Or 3 instead of 2, and all that kind of stuff.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know, it's just a thing. But it's, like, more pleasant for the eye to look at or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is fine, but it's just, I don't know, it's a design thing. So it's cool that, like, lots of things revolve around it.
Yeah.
You know? But, anyways.
Consulting the handbook, the Maitlands open a door to the netherworld and discover that the afterlife is structured according to a complex bureaucracy. Their caseworker, Juno, informs them it is for them to get the Dietzes out if they want them gone.
Yes.
The 2 inquire about Beetlejuice, and Juno explains he was her former assistant who became a freelancer, and advises that he is a troublemaker and they should not seek his help.
When I think of, like, what they're doing, basically, or what Beetlejuice does to them, I almost think he's like a poltergeist or something, hey?
Yeah.
Like, I think of him as, like, Peeves from Harry Potter. Shout out to Jan and Craig.
Yep.
But I always think of him as Peeves, almost, you know what I mean? Like, always up to trouble and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, manifesting into different things and, you know, to scare people. It's basically what he does, you know?
Yeah. He's not opposed to physical harm or actually being scary. Like, he's done it for a while. He knows what he's doing.
Yep. But he wants to cause harm. It's not just scaring them to make them leave.
Yeah.
He wants to, like hurt them. You know? Like when he pushes, like, Otho down the stairs and
or hangs the dad.
Drops the dad, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's not a pro-life person.
Nope.
He's
Oh, he's pro-death,
He's
actually,
pro-death.
is what
He's
I
very-
think.
yeah.
He's anti-life.
He is pro-anarchy.
Anarchy!
The Maitlands return to their house and meet Lydia, who is able to see them due to her strange nature and has read and understood the handbook. The 3 become fast friends, but the Maitlands still want to remove the Dietzes.
Of course.
And this way also we find that, it's funny, they put on like the classic bed sheets over themselves and try and
Scare them,
spook and scare.
Ooh, it's
And
hilarious.
they try to get the mum, Delia.
Yeah.
And she just wakes up, turns the TV off, and goes back to sleep.
Yeah.
And Lydia shows up with a camera and starts taking pictures, thinking that's her parents doing some weird, kinky sex thing.
Yeah, because they're in the other room, again, her parents' room, and they're like, ooh, ah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Adam's like, moan louder.
Yeah. And she's like, you guys, I'm a child. Stop that. And then they walk into her room with their sheets on and try to go, ooh. And so that's what, she's taking pictures because she's like, whatever weird kink you guys are into, like, can you leave me out of it?
Do it in your own room, not the hallway. So then she kind of finds out that they're ghosts, and she goes upstairs and they can't talk to her about it. She's like, if this is real, show me. And they're like, well, we don't know how.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, well, whatever. Good luck.
Yep, exactly.
And they ask, well, how can you see us? And she's like, well, I read your book, and have to be strange and unusual.
Yeah.
And I am strange and unusual, and that kind of describes her character to a T.
100%.
Because she's always wearing black. She's always got
She has
black
she wears
veils.
veils on.
That's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
She's very goth, very dark.
Very dark. Yeah.
So I like the character. It's a great. It makes sense.
Totally.
They summon Beetlejuice, but his crude personality convinces them they made a mistake, and they refuse to work with him, which is a funny interaction between the two when you first meet him. It's just funny how he's being real buddy, but at the same time he's crude is a good word. He's very touchy-feely to Barbara, and
he's so slimy.
he is, but that's his character. And it's
100%. Because that's the thing is that I think you're meant to not like him, so they do these things to make you not like him.
Yeah.
So it makes sense for the character.
But because of that, the Maitlands get an idea of how to scare him. So
yes, right.
the Maitlands attempt to frighten the Dietzes at a dinner party, but their actions only amuse them, and the Dietzes search the attic, and Otho takes the handbook.
Yeah.
It's a great scene.
Yeah. Which is the dinner party scene is the best part of the movie. Hands down.
I agree.
I love it. It's hilarious. If you look up one part of this movie, look up the dinner party scene. It is so good.
What's that song called? Banana? Bunch of Bananas? No.
I'm not sure, actually, if I'm being honest.
Is it Banana Boat?
Something.
It's awesome. The actors and actresses doing this are hilarious. Catherine O'Hara's having a blast doing it.
Yeah, and they all have different looks on their face because they're basically being possessed to dance and sing is what's going on. So, Catherine O'Hara and her husband, they look scared basically and confused mostly as they're dancing around and singing.
She's mostly confused and she gets into it. Same with him. He's more confused and a little what the hell's going on.
Otho is scared for the first minute and then he's super into it. Yeah. And the other two people are just vibing. They don't really care. The lady that is sitting beside him literally doesn't care from the start. Yeah.
The couple across, they're more blah blah. The guy especially, the little smaller guy, he's not having fun.
No.
The other woman, she is, but
especially at the part where they shake their butts, she turns around and she's like, "Whoa,
my bum!" And after when they're talking about it, she's happy. This is a blast. This is fun.
Yeah.
But the other guy, he's all blah.
Blah.
Beetlejuice manifests as a monstrous snake and attacks them until the Maitlands order him back. Juno summons the Maitlands and reprimands them, as their subpar hauntings and summoning of Beetlejuice are providing proof of the afterlife to the living, and orders them to get rid of the Dietzes. The two cannot bring themselves to scare Lydia and decide to allow the family to stay. Charles has the idea to turn the town into a tourist trap themed around the supernatural and convinces his former boss, Maxie Dean, to visit. And Maxie demands proof of the supernatural. Using the handbook, Otho summons Adam and Barbara, but they begin to decay.
Yes. And this is a super creepy part.
This gets super creepy.
Yeah.
And he realizes that what he thought was a seance was actually an exorcism. Oh, okay. Lydia asks Beetlejuice to help, and he agrees on the condition she marry him so he can be freed to enter the mortal world.
Exactly,
She agrees and summons him.
Yeah.
That makes sense, because they were getting all kind of old and
dying, literally.
Like they saw in the one room.
Yes.
In the afterlife.
That totally makes sense, because
it does.
Otho didn't really know what he was doing. He said he did, but he didn't. And he just started reading stuff.
Yeah.
What a jerk.
Yeah. Beetlejuice stops the exorcism and disposes of Maxie, his wife, and Otho. Then summons a ghastly minister to wed Lydia. The Maitlands intervene before the ceremony is completed, and Barbara riding a sandworm through the house to devour Beetlejuice.
Which was awesome, because they drop her into Saturn. Beetlejuice drops her into Saturn, and the sandworm comes up. And I was thinking, wouldn't it be hilarious if she rode it? Sure enough.
Yeah. And it's funny because they try so hard to say his name 3 times to send him back. And she says it once, and he's like, and he zips her mouth shut.
Yeah.
She unzips Beetlejuice. He winds up and throws a steel plate onto her mouth, and she's trying to get off. Finally, he waves his hand, and she gets poofed to Saturn. And it's just the whole bit is really cool.
But it's crazy that, like, when you say his name 3 times, like, that must, like, release him temporarily from whatever he's doing.
Yeah.
Like, stuck in. And he is, like, super powerful. Hey? Like, Jafar and Aladdin powerful.
Yeah. Well, he knows the tricks. He knows how to
Yes.
use his death powers. And
Yes. Well, he's been around for so
Exactly.
long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Craziness.
The Maitlands and Aditys agree to live in the house in harmony, and Lydia becomes more socially adjusted from her friendship with them as she attends school.
Yes.
An all-girls school.
Yeah. Meh.
Meanwhile, in the afterlife, Beetlejuice impatiently sits in the afterlife waiting room, waiting to be called and having a long wait, and steals a witch doctor's number, who is called in next in line.
Yep.
And in turn, the witch doctor angrily shrinks his head.
Which is funny.
And then we get the movie ending with Lydia coming home. I got a C on my my science, but
Yep.
an A in math. Like, great. And as I probably promised before, as a reward, she gets to float and dance.
Yep. She gets to levitate and dance, and a bunch of the other ghosts are, show up, like the football players, and they dance with her, and it's hilarious. Yeah.
It's really good, yeah.
I'm into it.
And the end.
Yay! That was Beetlejuice. It was
Such a good
fun,
movie.
yeah. It's a movie that I definitely watch again. That's good.
It is really good.
Yeah, it's just kind of a fun movie. I can see why they'd put it on TV, because once you bleep out, like, the couple swear words, there's really not much more to it that you'd have to bleep out.
Just
Like, you wouldn't have to cut anything, you know what I mean?
cut for time, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. And even then, like, there's very few things you'd have to cut for.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was a gooder. It was nice to have such a switch of, like, the scary, spoopy stuff we've been watching.
Yeah.
Just to have, like, a fun comedy horror one.
Yeah. Even horror is a loose term with this movie, but
right.
there's enough, for young people.
For sure.
This would be scary. Some things would be
Yes.
definitely scary for them.
Definitely, yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's fun. It's just fun. Fun's
Yeah.
the best word for this.
Yep, something to do. Something to watch.
Yep.
So what would you rate it? I know that you love this one.
Oh, I'd be between a 4, 4.5.
Interesting.
It's just such a good movie. It's slowish pace.
Yeah.
But the music's great. The acting is superb. It's
yeah,
top notch.
definitely.
The plot is interesting and goofy, but that works. And it's just good. The effects are great. You got
Definitely, yeah.
you got some claymation, no CGI, but you got practical effects.
Sure.
It's great. It's just a great movie.
Yeah, it is fun. Yeah. Yeah, I'd probably give it like a 3, 3.5, I think. Only because I don't think it's really that much of a horror movie.
Yeah.
And some of the claymation I think didn't age as well as I think. But that's with every claymation.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with watching It, like the older It with Tim Curry. It's just like, at the time it was probably creepy, but now it's just kind of like, cool, that's neat. Instead of like being like, ah.
So which claymation do you think was a little rough?
Definitely their faces changing.
Yeah, I was thinking the same.
Oof.
It's a cool effect.
Yeah.
The sandworm's a lot better.
Yeah, the
That's-
sandworm just looks so much like Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, yeah,
Like, it's literally the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's just very nostalgic. But it's like, even the Saturn parts, it's like almost a little like Dr. Seussy, the colors and stuff. So it's like, oh, okay, that's cool. But I can't hate on that because it looks really well done.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good. I'd watch it again. I'd be like, oh, okay. And I see how there's a cult following.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, fun movie.
So what about Ichabod's Kill the Flick? There's not much death or kills in this, but
right.
there is a
But-
nice reception full of dead people.
Yes, which we've kind of already talked about a bit.
Yeah, so I think for Kill the Flick is all those people in the waiting room who were killed. That gets Kill the Flick. They get the kill.
Totally, because we actually, like, even though we actually see Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin die, I guess in like quotations, we these people we also technically see how they die, with like being cut in half, or like being run over, or having their head shrunk.
biting them. Yeah, it's neat. Like some of the effects with Juno, like you can see she slit her throat or something. She must have slit her own throat because she's a caseworker.
Exactly.
And when she smokes, smoke comes out of the cuts in her throat.
Exactly. Yeah. So she must have done it to herself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's fun.
So good.
So good. Fun movie. Whoop whoop. And next week, let me
Isn't
think
it
1 sec.
Alive?
Oh yeah, it's #alive. We literally just talked about it.
We
Oh
did.
my goodness, that's how fast it slips my mind. Yeah, so we're watching another newer, I guess it's Korean, right?
Yes.
Yes, Korean horror movie on Netflix. It's called #alive. And it's been compared to Train to Busan with a better pace, like better pacing and scarier zombies and stuff. So yeah, I know nothing about it other than we watched the trailer. That's about
Yeah,
it.
I don't know a thing about it.
Yeah.
Back to the scurry zombie movie.
Back to super scary. Well, we've cleansed our palate enough between our zombie month, and now that we're ready for another one, I guess.
Yeah, back to the horror.
Yeah. And yeah, that's it's gonna be good. I'm excited. I've heard nothing but good about
Same
this movie,
here.
and
Same here.
I'm ready for another spooky, scary horror movie.
And this is gonna be this looks like a good zombie movie. I think
interesting idea.
Is it by the same guy who did Train to Busan?
I don't think so. I thought it was a different actor.
No.
Director. Sorry.
Oh, maybe it is. I'm not sure. I thought it was. I could be mistaken.
Yeah. Well, we can let everybody know next week.
That's right.
And thank you so much for joining us this week. This episode was brought to you by our executive producer, Ichabod, who's looking at me. We hope you enjoyed your Horr-Gasm as much as we did. Please don't forget to rate, download, and subscribe. Also, like and follow us on Facebook at Horr-Gasm Podcast, Instagram at Horr-Gasm, Twitter at Gasm Horror, and YouTube at the Horr-Gasm Podcast. If you have a movie you'd like us to review, this is the best way to let us know. We hope to see you again next week, because we have such sights to show you. Plenty of Horr-Gasms for you to experience.
See ya.
Bye!